7, we are starting our sevens. And the sevens are the ones that I said that we just kind of have to memorize the sevens. But they're not too hard to memorize if you, you know, there's not really any tricks that we can have with the sevens except just knowing them, because they're kind of floating all on their own. So over here, as usual, they have you do the skip counting. Over here, you do some more skip counting at the bottom. You move on. And then we are starting to do 2-digit times 1-digits, okay? But they're starting us off with kind of the tens, like 20 and 40, 30, all of those numbers that are kind of multiples of tens, which is really nice because it starts us off kind of easy, where when we do this, we're doing 2 times 0 and then 2 times 4. So I want to show you kind of how we do our multiplication, okay? When we're multiplying numbers like these, we always start from the bottom number, okay? Because the bottom number is the one that's telling us how many multiples of the top number, okay? So first, we start with our ones place, and we do 2 times 0 is going to give us 0. So if we're having 2 groups of 0, that's having no groups of 0, okay? So for the ones place, there's nothing. Then we go on to the tens place, and we do 2 times 2, and that gives us 4, okay? So if there was a larger number, if it was something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 2, we would do the same thing. We would do 2 times 5, okay, and then we would do 2 times 4, then 2 times 3, then 2 times 2, and then 2 times 1. So the bottom number gets multiplied by every single number at the top. So every single number gets multiplied by 2, every single one, okay? So that's how we would do that. And that's just for a visual kind of. So over here, okay, it's easier because we have 3 times 0, and that is 0. Then we have 3 times 4, and that's 12. So we just put it in the front. A lot of students were confused with this because they're like, they thought that they didn't have, they said 3 times 0 is 0, but 3 times 4, well, that gives me a 2-digit number, not a 1-digit number. What do I put? How do I put a 12 here? You just put it, okay? You just put it in the front. When it's in the front, it's fine. When you're already done multiplying all of your numbers, it's fine to put the entire 2-digit number here. If there were more numbers, then you would have to carry. But that's not what we're doing right now, so you can just put it in the front, okay? Okay. Okay. Here is some more skip counting by sevens. And then we have more of the ones we just went over. Remember, you do 6 times 0, that's 0. Then you do 6 times 3, and that gives you 18, and you just bring down the entire 18, okay? Okay, okay, that seems, these are kind of easier. Let me see. Yeah, okay. This one, number 8, will do, because that's one that a lot of people have a hard time with the weeks, okay? There are exactly 4 weeks in February. How many days are there in February? 7 days in a week. See, it really does remind us throughout the book that there's 7 days in a week, but just in case, it tells you right there, there's 7 days in a week, okay? So 4 weeks in February, 7 days in a week, that is 28 days, okay? There's 28 days in February, okay? The next one is the same thing as before. It's just skip counting by sevens over here, skip counting by sevens again, and doing the multiples of 10, okay? You bring down that 3 times 0 is 0, you bring the 0 down, 3 times 5 is 15, you put the 15 there, okay? Okay, this one over here, Let me see. Okay. Okay, those are pretty self-explanatory. These ones, they give you exactly the numbers you need, so you just multiply them. Over here, there's more skip counting. Okay, there's skip counting by 4s at the top, skip counting by 7s at the bottom, and some more review for multiplication facts, and some more review with the 2-digit multiples of 10 being added by 1 digit. Okay. Over here we have our solve for the unknowns, okay, which we've gone over, and then over here we're doing symbols. Okay, so the symbols are greater than, equal to, or less than. Okay, so the same way these are done, that's exactly how I want them done here. Okay, so if you get 3 plus 2, don't just try to keep that 5 in your head, and just write it down. Write it down, and then do 3 times 2 is 6. Write that down, and then it's easy to say, okay, 6 is the bigger number. And I always say this is like Mr. Pac-Man, and he's hungry, so he wants the bigger number. So he's not going to want the 5, so he turns his back to him, but he wants to eat the 6 because that's a bigger number, and he's very hungry. Okay, over here it's the same thing, 17, okay, and this is also 17, so this is equals. They're the same exact number. And then here it's 31 and 13. 31 is the bigger number, so the little sign is going to be eating the 31, so mouth is open that way. Okay. Over here where it says number 18, it says Grandpa gave Riley $7 worth of quarters. How many quarters did Riley receive? So we have the 7, okay, and all we have to know is, because it's dollars and quarters, we have to know how many quarters in a dollar, and we know that's 4, so that's our next number. We multiply and we get 28. So she got $28 in quarters, okay? Well, she got 28 quarters, yeah. Okay, and then it says a rectangle is 5 inches long, okay, rectangle. 5 inches long, 3 inches wide. What is its perimeter? Well, if this side is 5, then so is this one. If this side is 3, so is this one. Okay, now perimeter is the long word, so it's going to be the long equation, which is 5 plus 5 plus 3 plus 3. And then these are 10, these are 6, and this is 16. Okay, so the perimeter is 16. Okay, now we're on 17E, and over here we have more review of the same things we've already been working on. This is a skip counting by 6s. They always change them up. Just make sure you are learning and not forgetting what you're learning. Okay, these are things we've already reviewed. Okay. Okay, so this one. Okay, so this one, number 18, we'll go through that one. It says the first week, okay, and I'll just put like this. I like to write myself little notes. So the first week of work, Adam spent 32 hours, okay, pulling weeds. The second week, okay, he did the same, okay, so 32 more hours. And the third week, he had other things to do, so he spent only 17 hours pulling weeds. How many hours did he spend pulling weeds during those 3 weeks? Okay, so we do this. We do 7 plus 2 is 9. 9 plus 2 is 11. We do, these are 6, 7, and 8. So 81 hours is what Adam spent pulling weeds in those 3 weeks, okay? Okay. Okay. And then this is some more review. This is some more review. Okay, this one. Let me see. So, yeah, we'll review a few of these because these are a little bit harder. Okay, so this one. First of all, no, we'll do this one. Okay, number 18 says Alyssa has 5 dimes and 3 nickels. Does she have enough money to buy a candy bar that costs 75 cents? Well, let's figure it out. Remember what I said? 5 dimes, 5, put 10 over here over the dimes because the dime is 10, and 3 nickels. A nickel is 5. Okay, so we know that we have what? 5 dimes, 5 times 10, and we have 3 nickels, 3 times 5. Okay, and this is going to be 50. And this is going to be 15. So now we add them. This is 5, this is 6. This is how much money she has, okay? And the candy bar costs 75 cents. So does she have enough? No. The answer is no for that one, okay? And then it says, what is the difference between the cost of the candy bar and the amount of money that she has? Okay, what's the difference? When someone asks you for, when any of these problems say, the difference means subtract. It always means subtract. I can't think of any problem where the difference does not mean subtract. So when you're finding the difference between something, you know that the candy bar is 75. Alyssa has 65 cents. So when we subtract this, what's the difference? 10 cents. Okay? The difference between those two numbers is 10 cents. Okay? And then if we go to this one down here, number 19, it says Derek drew 8 separate squares. Okay, so he drew 8 squares. Let's write 8. How many straight lines did he draw? How many straight lines are 1 square? Okay, that's how you do it. Okay, you don't have to draw a bunch of 8 squares. You just say, okay, in 1 square there's 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. So you multiply by 4. Because in 8 squares, each square is going to have 4 lines, and there's 8 of them, so that gives us 32. Okay. Okay, the next one says, Mr. Smith has lived for 9 decades. 1 decade equals 10 years. If he's lived for 9 decades, then that's 9 times 10, and that is 90 years. That is a long life, 90 years. Okay, and that's all for chapter 17. And I think in chapter 18 we're going to be working some more on the sevens. Yep, that's correct. Okay, we're going to go on to chapter 18.